Hello, Governor. This is Steve, nupefromdaville. I'm here to talk to you about Doctor Who, Season 9, Episode 11, Heaven Sent. But first, let me tell you a little story. I remember when I was a teenager, I was out with some of my buddies out at the local park. We had a game, we won the game. It was kind of a victory celebration. We were out of the park, and I went to go get something to drink out of the punch bowl. And I had a cup of drink, and I started to feel off. I later came to find out that someone had spiked the punch, and the effects only lasted for about a day on me, but it could have been much worse. It was one of those early lessons that you learn about not just drinking anything, protecting your drink and the whole thing. A lot of stuff that ladies have to deal with when they go out to the club, protect your drink. Don't ever come back and drink it if you left it somewhere, just things like that. I don't remember what they told me it was spiked with, but I remember I couldn't make it home. And I didn't want to go home in that state because my mom would think that I'm out here doing these things on purpose, when no, I wasn't. I didn't like to be, and I still don't like to be, impaired. I don't like that. I don't mind feeling, slight buzz, I guess, but I don't like to be impaired where you're outside of your wits. But on this particular day, I knew something was very, very wrong. I didn't feel like I was dying, but I knew something was off. And my buddy stayed in an apartment complex, and around the apartment complex, it had this wall, maybe, 3 feet high brick wall around the apartment complex. And close to the entrance, I laid on the wall. And I was like, you know what, if I just lay here for a few seconds, I couldn't even make it inside. If I lay here for a few seconds, I'll, gather my wits, my strength, and be good. As I laid on that wall, I noticed, I was like, who is that right there? I said, boy, that boy looked like a dead body. I was like, wow, he is messed up. And as I started to focus, what? That's me, what the hell? I was floating in the air, looking down at my body. Now, in the movies and anime, you see it as going into the spirit world, an astral projection or something like that. I had an out-of-body experience, and I saw myself laying on that wall, and it was something that's only happened to me 3 times in life. And this is the only time where it happened due to some sort of illegal substance in my body. But I was like, am I dead? But it was also that particular moment when I started to think, if I can get my life together, I don't like this. I don't like how this feels. I don't want this. I have a lot of life left to live. And I figured out in that moment, I needed to do what I could to outrun death. Let's talk about it. Hello, Governor. This is Steve, nupefromdaville, and we're talking about Doctor Who, Season 9, Episode 11, the penultimate episode of this season. And I did a survey earlier in the year, and people have said overwhelmingly that this was their favorite episode, above Blink. So, let's see. We're catching up exactly right where we left off from Face the Raven. And the Doctor has been transported to a castle that is waterlogged. Um, there is a creature with a shroud on its head. It could be like the Grim Reaper. For most of us, will probably equate it to the Grim Reaper, but it doesn't seem sort the way that most of it has been pictured in times. It's a different type of, it seems like a creature, an alien. And it is after the doctor. So the doctor is running around the castle trying to get away from the creature, but every time it stops to interrogate him, the doctor has to say an inconvenient truth. He has to tell the truth about something that he would maybe normally lie about, or something that he's never said before. And then things kind of reset. Very Groundhog Day-ish, if you will. Now, when he first gets there, he's in a glass chamber, and he finds his way out of the glass chamber. And he's looking around the castle, and he sees things like a painting of Clara, but it's old. It looks like it's been there for centuries. The shrouded creature wants to know about the hybrid. And we've come to some episodes where we have some theories, but nothing concrete yet. Even the doctor thinks that he is the hybrid. The doctor jumps from a window, goes to replace his clothes, and finds he's replacing his clothes with clothes that are identical to his. It's weird. We come to start to figure out, is like, is he dead? Has he been transported to an actual place? Is he in some sort of mind palace? We saw Mind Palace in Demon Slayer and Sherlock, where you kind of revert into a corner of your mind to work out things. We also saw it in Doctor Strange in the MCU. The Doctor has visions of Clara while he's here, and he's trying to work out all this because it's clear that he's in probably the largest state of depression. And even though the Doctor is not somebody who would ever think about unaliving himself, I mean, he regenerates, so that's really not a question for him. He's still trying to figure out why he's here and how he gets out. He eventually gets to a chamber made of asbantium, which is a mineral that's even harder than diamond. And he figures out that this is a prison for him. Self-imposed, maybe? But he doesn't have his sonic screwdriver, he doesn't have any tools, he doesn't have anything. So he starts to punch the asbantium. Now remember, this is harder than diamond. And he punches, and he keeps punching, and he keeps hitting. It only takes him, it's either 2 billion or 4 billion years. 4 billion. It's either 2 billion or 4 billion. Few billion years to break through this wall. When he finally breaks through, he goes through the portal and finds himself outside the capital on Gallifrey. The castle was actually in his confession dial. There's a young boy standing out there, and the doctor tells the young boy to go tell the Time Lords that he's back. And he knows what they did. He then, at the end of this, proclaims that the hybrid prophesized by the Time Lords is indeed himself. You know that I love my quotes, and this is such a weird topic that I only have one quote, and it's something I found on Quora. When you have an out-of-body experience, you will see the esoteric real soul body. Or when you die too. The physical form is just a way to give form to the thoughts of God. This is going to be a little bit different because I'm literally winging this. This was such a phenomenal episode that I'm going to probably end up revisiting this, because even though I've had a little time to kind of formulate my thoughts and figure out what I want to say about it, I feel like I need more time. This was a very existential type of episode. So I got to talk about out-of-body experiences because at this moment, the doctor may be in his body, he may be in a mind palace having an out-of-body experience. Now, out-of-body experience, for those people who are not familiar, is a phenomenon when a person feels as though their consciousness is detached from their physical body, and it can be observed, and they can observe the world from outside of their body. Your body stays in one place and your consciousness floats through the ether and can go wherever and see whatever. It depends on how your mind formulates that. Now, if this is an out-of-body experience, if this is a mind palace for the doctor, he's in a mind palace of misunderstanding, grief, fear, and loss. Now he's there because these are all the things that he has to deal with in the moment. He has rage simmering. A shielder, the quantum shield, the time lords, all of them figured out a way to take that which was most precious from him, which is not his own life. Life is precious, but they are surrounded, the doctor's surrounded by human companions to remind him that life is fleeting, to remind him how precious life is, because it can't be taken for granted. Because once a human's gone, they're gone. So they took Clara away from him. And even though she was able to be okay with it, she made peace with it, the doctor was not okay. He did not make peace with it. Now, the thing about this episode was we got a lot of that Groundhog's Day effect. And what that meant was that we got to see things over and over. And usually that happens in your life when you don't get things right. When I became a minister, and yes, if you didn't know, I'm actually a licensed minister. When I became a minister, you have to give your initial sermon. My initial sermon was about being on the potter's wheel. And what that means is that the potter's wheel, as you're forming a piece of clay, like we humans, it spins around and around, and you keep removing clay or adding clay, but you keep working on perfecting its form. And it continues to turn around and around. And you don't stop it until you get it right. And many of us in life are on that potter's wheel. And part of it is because we haven't learned the lesson that we're supposed to learn. So we keep turning. And that's why situations return. You're like, I've already dealt with this, or I've dealt with something just like this. And yeah, you didn't learn the lesson you were supposed to learn. So you stay on the wheel. Now, in the doctor's wheel, in the doctor's mind palace, where is this castle? Is this hell? Is it heaven? Many people I know in their mind, those that believe in heaven or think of heaven, think of it's all white and bright and beautiful and clouds everywhere. The ground are like the clouds and everyone's in white with their halos and their wings, and and angels are walking by playing harps and ukuleles or something. I don't know. I don't know why that's the vision. And that's the power of the media, gives us that vision, everybody runs with it. Just like when you think about hell, you think about it's dirty, disgusting, it's ungodly, hot. Demons are running around everywhere tormenting you because it's supposed to be pain, constant, infinite. How do you envision coming out? If you go into your own mind palace, how do you envision coming out on the other side? What makes that even possible? When you have a out-of-body experience, when you come out from it, you have a few moments where you doubt your own sanity. And I would have completely just written the entire event off after this event that happened when I was a teenager, because I know that there was a substance, some type of liquor, drug, something introduced to my system that my system was not ready for, and it caused this. But it's happened to me twice again, and I was dead sober. What does that mean? Is it your own personal heaven or hell? What is going on in your life that forces you to go to this place? It's hard to say. The second time it happened to me was a hell. Third time's a little bit more hazy, but absolutely could have been hell. You know, the thing about this episode is I'm done. But I feel like this is going to be a longer conversation between us. I will revisit this, because even though I'm done in a moment, I feel like I need some time to put together a longer conversation about this. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. Make sure that you like, share this as much as possible. Comment on what you thought about this episode, what you thought about what I said. I know it's a little bit different today, and if for some reason, if you haven't subscribed yet, just do yourself a favor, hit the button, subscribe, because every time I do any of these, I always use this. But it's more important that you actually use this.